around the Northwest. Now, former Government Minister Joe McHugh has, since he left politics, has brought out a book. And now, believe it or not, he's on stage. It's a one-man show. And it was a one-man show that was supposed to get one outing, but there's going to be a second one here in Donegal. The first one was in Clifton for the International Arts Festival. And that was a couple of weeks ago, thereabouts. And now next week there's going to be one more outing for what's called Joe's Call, and it will be in Ireland, Gweedore, next Thursday night. Joe's here in the studio to try to explain what he's up to. Anyhow, Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks, John. Thanks for
lean in slightly there, if you would.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've had the book, which outlined your journey through learning Irish, and there's a bit of politics and stuff in there as well. But this is kind of about. It's about one day. It's about the day that Enda called you into the office and said, "Joe, I've a job for you."
It's
more or less.
It's more or less, and I suppose just a wee bit of the backdrop as to how I ended up in Clifton. The organisers in Clifton asked me down to speak about the book, but that was 6 months ago. So I was kind of thinking people will be sick of listening to me talking about the book, and I came up with this notion, and it was definitely a notion at the time. Could we do something different, maybe around a play? Shauna Costula from Galway was involved in this, and then we decided to develop it a bit further. So we needed somebody to write the actual play. So that's where Francie Cullen came in on the Dunev, and Francie has won numerous awards for different playwrights and as a playwright for different plays. And Francie reckoned the only way it'll work is a one-man show. And this was the thing. So that was a terrifying moment the day he told me that, because I don't think I think I auditioned once for a Christmas tree in a Christmas play one time and I didn't get it, John. So I absolutely didn't get it. So I've no experience.
So that was two sort of daunting one-to-ones. One with Andy Kenny and another one with Francie Cullen. Yeah. So you managed to come through both of them. Acting, just to let listeners know, I saw it the very first time because we went down to Gweedore. Just about a month ago.
Glencolmkill.
Glencolmkill.
Yeah,
of course. And you put it on down in the Irish Centre down there.
Yeah,
Correct name for it?
Edgescale.
Yeah. And this was your first time to put it on in front of an audience. Yeah. And you surprised me because it was number one. You didn't have a clue really how it would go down, and I hadn't a clue how it was going to go. And you can actually act a wee bit. A lifetime in politics, I suppose, has prepared you well. And then the other thing is, it's very funny in places.
So. Well, look, like Francie is very clever. Francie is a very clever script writer. And on paper, it's when you read it, it's funny on paper. So I suppose the challenge for me was to try and bring that alive on the stage. So that was daunting. Glencolmkill was a really terrifying moment. The trepidation prior to that dress rehearsal was really, 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 really difficult. And Clifton was difficult as well because I didn't know what to expect. And I was like a lot of the nuances is around Donegal Irish and the Donegal dialect and all that. But I was pleasantly surprised that people there were 3 people from Idaho there as tourists, and they got the concept. Yeah, they enjoyed it. Well, just for the purpose of the listeners, and this is one of the difficulties in the challenges with the book. A lot of people assume that my book's in Irish, but it's primarily in English, and this play is primarily in English because the day I was offered the job, it was the interaction between Enda and myself, and that was Asperle. So it's very much I'm trying to not target an audience, but I want to say to people that this is very, very accessible for people who have an interest in Irish, maybe are back learning it, maybe are thinking about going back learning it, and it's a kind of a gentle way of immersing themselves in the language.
Okay, unless it's changed a lot from Glencolmkill, there's a bit at the start in Irish, and then there's a few lines through the play in Irish, but the rest is in English, so it's very, very accessible. Okay, and looking back now, you're able to look back now, but it's not poking fun at Enda as such. It's just looking back in a way at almost the absurdity of it, in that you're being offered the position as Gaeltacht minister, and you weren't fluent in Irish.
Yeah, Yeah, and I suppose the play gives an opportunity, gives an insight into that day, the anguish, and I suppose politically you always have to keep the facade, or as I call it in the play, the rigor mortis smile, that you have to keep that outward positivity and things will be grand. But I give people a wee bit of an insight into how I felt that day, and at the time I thought Enda was giving me a hospital pass in terms of, oh my God, he's given me a job as Minister for the Gaeltacht and I can't have a conversation in Irish. But as the years move on and as time moves on, I reflect on that day, and I do that in the play as well, where Enda didn't give me a hospital pass. He gave me the best gift anybody could be given, to be able to speak our language fluently, albeit I'll continue to make mistakes grammar-wise and all that. But it is an opportunity for me to say to Enda, thank you, Gurmil Mayagod, Enda. You gave me a very, very special gift, and I'll always be grateful.
Because if it wasn't for that offer, what's the chances that you would ever have gone back and revisited the language and learned it properly?
Zero chance.
Slim to none.
Slim to none, because I spent 25 years after my leaving cert saying I must go back and using the age-old excuse, I don't have time. And I suppose one of the beauties about being offered the Minister for the Gaeltacht was I had a full immersion language experience. Anybody with even, not just the fluent Irish speakers, but even people with broken Irish, they felt confident enough to speak to me because they knew I was at a very low standard, and anybody with Irish spoke to me in Irish, and that's how I learned. It was full immersion.
Okay. Now, learning on-stage craft is a different thing entirely, and it was a wee bit daunting down in Clifton, and that you actually couldn't see the audience. As a politician, you'd be used to speaking to people, but you would see your audience.
Yeah, that was difficult, and I suppose even doing the rehearsals, I've been doing this took up quite a bit of time, and Francie Cullion has put an enormous amount of hours into it as well, and it was just myself down in College to Roskill and down in Derry Hassan. And it's okay learning. I thought when I'd get to learn the lines, I was nearly 90% there, but I wasn't even halfway there, because you have to learn actually how to act. You have to learn how to move. You have to learn, and I suppose the big message from Francie was never anticipate your audience. And it's something maybe I did as a politician. You can gauge the reaction of a crowd in a public room, and you can try and anticipate what they're going to do or say. Normally could be
choice line.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just a whole new thing. Acting is so like, people will slag me and say, oh, you have 25 years in politics, you've plenty of acting experience and it all, but it's a completely different discipline. And my respect and regard now for actors and that spend time putting the effort into learning their lines and doing the work, my God, it's such an enormous task.
Actors and radio presenters, absolutely.
Yeah, correct.
So looking out into the darkness and trying to deliver your lines, and it's particularly tough, I suppose, in a one-man play, because you don't have other actors to bounce off, and you can't just sit back and think what your next line's going to be while somebody else is delivering theirs. Yeah. You have to be really well rehearsed.
Yeah, it's a step up from the...
Did you have a prompter?
I didn't have a prompter, no. And in Clifton, I did get a blank on one line, and as you say, it was the first time experiencing darkness. Like I couldn't see the audience, so I was speaking into
because of the lights shining
because
in
of
your
the
face.
lights, and I put up my hands like I didn't try to hide it or anything like that, and we had a bit of fun around that. So it was a wee lesson for me as well. Like if things, if something does go wrong in Gweedore, like I'm not going to hide behind it, because one thing acting does, it's yourself, and it's a way of expressing yourself. And 25 years in politics, you don't really get an opportunity to do that, because you're a public representative and you're representing people who voted for you. So you're always trying to figure out, the balance of that viewpoint, and trying to do your, being as honest as possible in representing the viewpoints, but you're never up there giving your own opinion or expressing yourself as a person.
So you can in this, and the fact that it was co-written with Francie, so there's a lot of your input in there as well, and you can be a bit more opinionated. it's taken some artistic license, though. It's not like word for word as it was on the day.
No, and look, I suppose like it is a comedy, so hopefully some
Yes,
people will
there'll be a
laugh
few
at some
laughs.
stage during the play. It's funny
Out there in the darkness.
out in the darkness, but just a wee sort of a mammy observation. My mum was down in Clifton, and my brother Paul was beside her, and he was laughing, and she told him, "Don't be laughing so loud." So
That's it, right.
so anyway,
Counterintuitive.
yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, look, it is a comedy. It has artistic license. Look, I forget a lot of the actual specific engagement. When I'm in the office with Enda, but it is in the main. It's the main structure. But let's say Francis added a wee bit of colour to it as well.
He has. That is quite a bit of colour. And I mean, there's like in the overall scheme of things now. Where is this? It was just meant to be. It was meant to be Clifton. That was
Yeah.
It was a one-off.
Yeah.
But then Francie suggested maybe we do it in Donegal.
Well, it's funny. We went out for a few drinks after the play in Clifton, and it was really lovely. My family were there, and Francie wouldn't join us because Francie says, "I want you to meet your family on your own because if I'm there, they're going to tell you what you want to hear, Joe. I need you to meet them. I need them to tell you, has this worked? Has it not worked?"
They'll be more honest.
Exactly.
He's not there.
Exactly. So anyway, later on that night, we met up with Francie, and Francie was delighted. The feedback was positive and all that. But then me and Francie got into a kind of a heart-to-heart over next steps.
Mm-hmm.
And Francie was always of the opinion that we put in this time. It's the Nadoonah native dialect. It's the Donegal dialect. It's a Donegal story. We need to tell it in Donegal. But I told him just around closing time that was it, Francie. We're not doing it
Broke
anymore.
the news to him.
Broke the news. The night ended rather abruptly. Francie went to bed. I went to bed. We had to drive home from Galway the next day. Conversation was it was just all right. Bit of Gaelic, a bit of Barley. We talked about the weather and maybe the few sheep on the mountainside. And for a couple of days, me and Francie had no contact. So Francie assumed it wasn't going to happen. And I rang him to tell him that it wasn't going to happen 2 days later. But we had a very honest and open conversation. And one of the things that struck me was Francie Cullen has invested so much time as a script writer, as a director, school plays, community plays and all that. And at the end of the day, he wanted this to happen. And I thought the least I can do is, honor what he his expectation from day one. So we're doing it.
Okay.
Last show though, John.
Yeah, last show. It's next Thursday night in Ireland, Gweedore, and message says, "Please wish Joe all the best in his acting career." His acting career, right? And that would be stretching it a wee bit, maybe. But anyhow, that's from Kathleen Boner.
Oh, thanks, Kathleen. Go Gormaigad.
He said, "You're a great help to us as a politician when I worked in local development." Oh, yeah. There you go. Okay, and you were of good help as well too. Ireland got I think it got a grant over the line helped to get a grant over the line for them. So there you are. So maybe it's their way of saying thank you. Now they're letting you loose on stage.
Yeah.
Tickets they can be got from Ireland Gweedore. You can call them on 95316111 or just go on to their website and. That is next Thursday night. No pressure, Joe.
Gormaigad. Just to thank Francie for all he's done, and and also to acknowledge the station's own commitment to the Irish language. Rosemary Hardy and Colin Ferreter, and even the people that don't have Irish are always committed to it. So I just want